If you want to start this one off, what would you do to change the way BRSSD conducts business?
What kind of business?
How it operates?
I think first is communication transparency. I think right now the issue is that the community members have a lack of trust on what's going on in the school district. So I think once we start with communication and making sure we know where the budget is being spent, I think that is a start. And without a start, you can't go any further.
I think this turnout here is evidence that we're turning a corner in this district and in this community. Unfortunately, I think there was some bad press earlier that created some tension in our community, but it got people to turn out. And now what I'm hoping is the fire that was there, that was stirred up from some negative things, are now going to be turned for positive things. And I think it's great that people have been turning out to these forums, whereas before we've never had like an election like this before. This is thrilling for me that there are 7 people up here. I'm sorry that it might make it difficult for all of us as voters, but it's exciting that we're up here. So I think business is changing in our district, and I think that's coming from us, or community. I'm just like you, you're just like me. I mean, we want change and we want things to happen in a positive way now, and I think that's going to start happening for us.
So I think the district needs to work harder to build trust. The communication, transparency, accountability has been an issue with the district. I think they need to work harder towards sharing more information, sharing information before the fact rather than after the fact. A lot of time it's just that one communication, one email that goes out giving clear information helps a lot in the community. From a school board perspective, there's a lot that we can do to improve the process. Better meeting minutes. In the past forums we spoke about web streaming of the meetings. Why are we not looking at City Hall? They already have the infrastructure for streaming meetings. Why not piggyback on that? Why can't we market this information better? Why can't we engage more people? We can only do that when we are out there giving more information, being more open about how we do things.
So one of the reasons I'm running is we hired, obviously, Dr. Milliken as the sole superintendent, and I am completely and thoroughly excited about that. And we're going to have a new board, right after the November elections, regardless, even if I'm on it, it's still going to be a new board. And it's going to be imperative that we sit down together, we're going to have a retreat, we come together with a common vision, all right? And that common vision is going to be projected short-term and long-term. That's something we come together as a board with the superintendent, and then we have to come out to the community and say, hey, here's where we're going, and here's where we're going to need your help to do that. And I think that's going to be a real break from the past on how we've been doing things, which has been somewhat reactionary because we basically got overwhelmed with this huge influx of kids. So we're going to find out how we can deal with the enrollment issue, but we also have to have that long-term vision and where we want to take the district and how we're going to get there and what we're going to be expecting from the community to make that happen. So I think that's going to be important, and all of that's going to encompass communication, unification, and working together.
I'm going to start with what I think the district has actually done well. I think in the last few years, our country and the school district has gone through some very tough financial times. And I think that the board has done a good job in keeping us afloat. That being said, I think there are definitely areas where the board could improve. I think communication, as we've all talked about, is one of those areas, specifically about board meetings. I think that, it would be wonderful if we had this many people in a board meeting, but there usually aren't, because it's very hard to come on a Thursday evening. I think we can make board meetings more accessible. Now, I heard from a board member just recently that the Belmont City Council in the past had offered to have board meetings in their chambers so that they could be televised or shown on the internet. I think that's a wonderful idea. If the offer's on the table, I think that would be a terrific thing to do. So I think board meetings should be more accessible, and I'm very optimistic about our new superintendent. I think that he has done a lot to improve communications. He's dealt with a lot of issues that are difficult, including pending litigation, and he's talked about, the math issues as well. So I'm optimistic.
The single most corrosive element facing school district right now is this focus on short-term crisis management and the lack of long-term vision, long-term planning. And that has to change. You simply cannot have an entity as large as the school district go from crisis to crisis and emergency to emergency. And yes, those are tragic, but they happen. And so the school board needs to be configured so that they can deal with it. Emergencies happen, so you plan for those. And then, more importantly, you develop strategies to solve meaningful problems. And those strategies may change. Your tactics may change, but you have a strategy, you get some people together, and you drive it to conclusion, and you deliver on your promises. That's where this board needs to be.
Now, the thing that I'd like to see change in terms of how BRSSD conducts business is actually starting to happen already. I think one of the key things is rebuilding that trust, and by doing that, having open and honest communication and transparency. And Dr. Milliken, when I met with him to talk about what happened last year with school assignments, he displayed a lot of active listening. And I think that's what we as school board members need to do as well. He listened without cutting us off, didn't ask clarifying questions, and then when we were done going over our experience, he actually recaptured the 3 key points that he thought that we were saying to him, and clarified, is that what you were intending? Is that what you meant? And when we do that, actively listen and treat people and their opinions with respect, and capture those key essence, key points, then we start rebuilding that trust. And as individuals, we can make a lot of positive change happen.
All right, looks like we have time for one more question.